There are roughly 9 million single-family homes in California surrounded by some sort of lawn, and all of the conventional lawn care steps are a bit wonky in the state. It's January 22nd at time of recording. I live in Ventura County, California. This is my ryegrass lawn. This is my Kentucky bluegrass lawn. This is a neighbor's kikuyu lawn, and another neighbor's Bermuda lawn. My neighbor across the street has a nice fescue lawn. Each of these lawns is about to accelerate into spring-like conditions as we're about ready to see our first 80-degree day of the year, before January even comes to an end. Throughout most of the population centers in the state, average temperatures in the dirt, the soil in the lawn, are at their lows typically between January 1st and 10th. And between January 31st and February 28th, soil temperatures start increasing significantly. In terms of hours in the day and sunlight intensity, we're well off the shortest days of the year and quickly getting back towards 12-hour days. You see, spring lawn care here in this state starts at the end of January, regardless of what type of grass you have. But that's not exactly true. If you're in the minority and live at elevation or in the most northern part of the state, then the standard rules apply, but the vast majority of Californians need to be taking action in the yard by February 1st, most every year. The main trigger for spring lawn activity is when that dirt starts warming up off of its lows. Warm season grasses like Bermuda, St. Augustine, Buffalo, etc. all start coming out of dormancy when soil temperatures start surpassing 55 degrees and day length starts approaching equinox. As an example, day length at February 10th is roughly the same as it is at Halloween, when most lawns are still looking amazing. Californian kikuyu lawns in particular can stay green and growing all winter long, because they have fair shade tolerance and they have much better cold weather tolerance compared to other warm season grasses grown in the state. Cool season grasses will stay green throughout most of the state through most, if not all, of winter. But when soil temperatures start climbing above 50 degrees, or they never dip below it, these grasses will start growing more vigorously, just as they are doing in my lawn and my neighbor's lawn across the street. In the meantime, winter weeds are going to be flourishing during the month of January. And as soil temperatures climb through the month, many of these weeds can be killed before they fully go to seed later in February and March. Most places around the country, you can't kill weeds in the month of January and February, but here in California, you can. Summer weeds, they also start germinating this time of year, even though we don't see them very much for the next few months. As soil temperatures start climbing above 55 degrees, many of these weed seeds start sprouting. So preventing their germination has to be done now, well before true spring arrives in late March. If you have a lawn and you live in California and you don't want to fight a losing battle later in the year, then it's important to head out into the lawn on a warm, dry weekend near the end of January and spray broadleaf and grassy weeds to remove them from the equation. Weed control products of this type usually go onto the leaves and then they absorb in, so you don't want to apply it to a wet lawn or water that lawn on the same day. A few days later, you should apply a weed preventer, otherwise known as a pre-emergent. This is going to stop the vast majority of spring and summer weeds from germinating through the month of February, giving you a much better lawn later in the true growing season. Most lawns shouldn't be seeded this time of year, but you could plan on putting some warm season seed, sod, sprigs, or plugs down later in May, June, or July, and cool season seed in August and September. And of course, fertilizers can be used by the month of March to push the thickening of lawns in proper spring to fill in those areas that used to be overtaken by weeds. There is, of course, a ton of extra stuff I could say about lawn care at the start of the growing season. Much of it might overwhelm rookies in the audience, though. I do, however, offer one-on-one video consultations. Also have in-depth written guides supplemented with video, published over on the Turf Mechanic Premium website. And I have a free email series for those of you who want to learn a little bit about lawn care but don't know really where to start and don't really want to spend any money right out of the gate. Not to mention the fact that I got like 500-600 freely accessible videos published right here on this channel. If you think your spring has begun and you want to go a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole, then watch this follow-up video where I discuss a few more of the action items that apply to just about every lawn everywhere.